12 a.m. ETFRISCO, Texas. 30 years ago today, Jerry Jones purchased the Dallas Cowboys in Texas Stadium for $140 million. On numerous occasions, Jones has said the Cowboys were losing $1 million a month when he took over. Now, the Cowboys are the highest valued sports franchise in the world at $4.8 billion, according to Forbes. So much has transpired in the 30 years, as Jones has gone from one of the NFL's outsiders to the most powerful owner in the league. "I really can say this genuinely, I haven't worked a day in 30 years, Jones said last week. It's been that kind of experience. Every day has been a growing experience. The NFL and the Dallas Cowboys made me something I wouldn't have been just internally. It's like a walk-on. Before I knew it, we would do some things, it would work and I'd say, man, that worked. I think we'll try this and then try that. So my lesson here, if there is one, is if you can get in something that just piques your imagination every day, you will grow with it. And consequently I am not the same person that I was 30 years ago as far as just enthusiasm, ideas. I'm more enthusiastic, as I sit here today than I was 30 years ago." To note Jones' anniversary, here are 30 prominent moments from his tenure. Jerry Jones with his first head coach, Jimmy Johnson, on February 28, 1989, in Irving, Texas. AP photo, Pat Sullivan 1. Out with the old, in with the new. On the day he bought the team, Jones fired Tom Landry and hired Jimmy Johnson. Some have still not forgiven Jones for firing Landry, the only coach the Cowboys had ever known. The previous regime offered to deliver the bad news to Landry, but Jones thought it was something he needed to do. Point 2. Future Hall of Famer Troy Aikman becomes the first draft pick of the Jones era when he is taken number 1 overall in 1989. The pick seemed to work out okay, with Aikman quarterbacking 3 Super Bowl teams and earning induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Point 3. Win number 1, on November 5, 1989, the Cowboys beat the Washington Redskins, 13-3. It was the only win in Jones' first year as owner and general manager. The 1-15 record was the worst mark for the Cowboys since the franchise's first year, in 1960, when they went 0-11-1.4. The trade, on October 12, 1989, the Cowboys traded Herschel Walker to the Minnesota Vikings for 5 players, 6 conditional draft picks and a first-round pick in 1992, which began the team's transformation into a Super Bowl winner. Who gets credit for the trade? Depends on who you want to believe, Jones or Johnson. Point 5. The all-time leading rusher. Truth be told, the Cowboys wanted to draft linebacker James Francis in 1990. They ended up with Emmitt Smith with the 17th pick of the first round. Smythe eventually ran for more yards than any other running back in NFL history. Point 6. Committee man. On May 1, 1992, NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue named Jones to the prestigious competition committee. He became the first owner named to the committee since Hall of Famer Paul Brown of Cincinnati. Point 7. The trade. Part 2. Jones likes to say the Cowboys could not spell Super Bowl before the trade for Charles Haley from rival San Francisco in August of 1992. For second and third round picks, the Cowboys got Haley, who helped transform their defense and pass rush. Point 8. The first Super Bowl, on Jan. 31, 1993, the Cowboys beat the Buffalo Bills in Super Bowl 27, 4 seasons into Jones' tenure as owner and general manager. Before the game, Jones had somebody hand him a football on the sideline before he walked the length of the Rose Bowl field, carrying it across the goal line for what he called a touchdown. Jones and Johnson hoisted the Lombardi Trophy twice, and Jones won a third without Johnson. AP photo, Charles Krupa 9. The second Super Bowl. The Cowboys didn't wait long to win their second Super Bowl. On January 30, 1994, they repeated as champion by beating the Bills again, with Smith being named the game's most valuable player. 10. saying goodbye. Depending on the perspective, it was either late at night or early in the morning when Jones told the Dallas Morning News, "There are 500 coaches who could have won the Super Bowl with our team," in Orlando at the owners' meetings in March 1994. With the Jones-Johnson relationship already frayed, that comment spelled its end, with Johnson walking away with a $2 million check. Jones hired Barry Switzer, his one-time college coach at Arkansas. Off-season fantasy questions for all 32. What new team is getting an Antonio Brown? Time for Julio Jones to cash in. Concern for QB Jackson running. Overrated Cowboys. Holistic view of off-season plan. Eli Vernon potential cuts for Giants. Rookie QB wouldn't limit Jags playoff bid. NFL draft, mock drafts, prospects and more. 11. The TV deal. Owners were ready to give back more than $300 million in revenue for a 2-year extension with the television networks in 1994. Having forked over so much money to buy the Cowboys, Jones was vehemently against the idea. He was added to the negotiations. Fox outbid CBS by more than $100 million a season and the league's television contract reached $1.1 billion. 12. Third Super Bowl. Among the most disappointing losses of the Jones era was the 1994 NFC title game in San Francisco, but the following year, the Cowboys became the first team to win 3 Super Bowls in a 4-year span when they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in Super Bowl 30.13. Primetime. In order to get that title, the Cowboys thought they needed to be bold, and being bold meant signing Deion Sanders as a free agent away from the 49ers with a 5-year, $30 million deal that included a $12 million signing bonus. 14. Bring on the courts. Jones thumbed his nose at the NFL's way of doing business, signing sponsorship agreements with Nike, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper and American Express for Texas Stadium. The NFL saw that as a runaround of their shared revenue between the teams and sued Jones for $300 million. Jones filed an antitrust lawsuit against the league and NFL properties for $750 million. The suit was eventually settled and teams were allowed to make their own sponsorship agreements. 15. Team of the decade. The Cowboys closed the 1990s with 8 playoff appearances, 6 division titles and 3 Super Bowl wins with 3 different head coaches, Johnson, Switzer and Chen Gailey. Gailey was fired after the 1999 season, despite back-to-back playoff appearances, and replaced by Dave Campo. 16. Move over. Sweetness, in a 17-14 loss to the Seattle Seahawks on October 27, 2002, Smith became the NFL's all-time leading rusher, surpassing Walter Payton. Smith finished his Cowboys career with 17,162 yards, 436 more than Payton's 16,726. After 2 seasons with the Arizona Cardinals, Smith finished with a career total of 18,355 yards. Bill Parcells was a surprising hire by Jerry Jones, and the veteran coach lasted 4 seasons in Dallas. AP photo. Matt Slocum. 17. The big catch. After suffering through 3 straight 5-11 finishes, Jones stunned most football observers by naming Bill Parcells as head coach in 2003. Parcells had been out of coaching since 1998 and many assumed the partnership between the two would never work. Though they did not achieve playoff success, Parcells led the Cowboys to the playoffs twice in his 4 years and stocked the roster with numerous Pro Bowlers, most importantly, a quarterback named Tony Romo. 18. The crown jewel. One of the reasons Parcells was hired was to help gain votes to build a stadium in Arlington, Texas. The vote was successful and on April 10, 2006, ground was broken on what would be called it. The Cowboys moved into the $1.2 billion stadium in 2009, and Jones has estimated he has poured in another $200 million into the building since it opened. 19. Record crowd. The Cowboys' first regular season game at it. 2009, but the announced crowd was 105,121, the largest attendance for a regular season game in NFL history. 20. Record crowd. Part 2, on Feb. 14, 2010. It was the largest crowd to attend a basketball game at any level. 21. a North Texas Super Bowl. By building the stadium, the Cowboys were granted the right to host Super Bowl 45 on February 6, 2011. The Green Bay Packers beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the week was marred by snow and ice and a seating issue that led to multiple lawsuits against the NFL and the Cowboys. Jones wanted to set a Super Bowl record for attendance, but the game checked in at number 4 at 103,219. The Cowboys have not hosted a Super Bowl since or put in a bid for one. A sticking point, they would have to give up the home game in order to host the Super Bowl, and Jones does not want to take a game away from Cowboys fans. 22. More big games. The game set records for attendance with 79,444 for the semifinals and 79,238 for the final. In 2015, the stadium hosted the first college football playoff national championship, with more than 85,000 seeing Ohio State beat Oregon. 23. Hall of Fame presenter, Jones' relationship with players has been well documented over the years. Sometimes he has been too close to players, but he has served as the presenter to 3 Hall of Famers, Michael Irvin, Smith and Larry Allen. 24. Missed chances. In 2007, Jones tabbed Wade Phillips to replace Parcells. The Cowboys went 13-3 and had the best record in the NFC but lost to the New York Giants in the divisional round of the playoffs. The team featured 13 Pro Bowlers. In 2016, the Cowboys finished with the NFC's best record with Jason Garrett as coach and lost to the Green Bay Packers in the divisional round of the playoffs. That team featured 6 Pro Bowlers. 25. Time for a change. Off a 1-7 start in the 2010 season, Jones made the first, and so far only, mid-season head coaching change of his ownership, replacing Phillips with Garrett. The Cowboys, with an injured Romo, went 5-3 in the second half of the season, and Garrett was named the full-time coach after the season. He remains in the position today, but enters 2019 in the final year of his contract. 26. The Crown Jewel. Part 2. The Cowboys moved into the Star, their practice home in Frisco, Texas, in 2016. The city and Frisco School District committed $90 million to the project. Jones put more money into the facility and surrounding businesses than he did in purchasing the team. Ford Center at the Star seats 12,000 for high school games and serves as the Cowboys' indoor practice facility. Jerry Jones delivers his speech at the Pro Football Hall of Fame on August 5, 2017, in Canton, Ohio. AP photo, David Richard. 27. Hall of Famer himself, on August 5, 2017, Jones was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was the 15th owner in NFL history to earn enshrinement, and it was as much for the 3 Vince Lombardi trophies as it was changing how the NFL does business. 28. Another fight, upset over the 6-game suspension received by Ezekiel Elliott for violating the league's personal conduct policy. Jones threatened legal action and became a thorn in the NFL's side, particularly when it came to an extension for Roger Goodell. Jones had to pay the NFL $2 million in legal fees. 29. Location. Jones longed for years to get the NFL back in Los Angeles, and he played a key part in the Rams' return there in 2016 following their move from St. Louis. He also helped steer the Raiders to Las Vegas, where they will play in 2020. Of course, that angered fans in St. Louis and Oakland. But he was more than okay with an expansion franchise being awarded to Houston as well. 30. Another playoff win. On January 5, 2019, the Cowboys beat the Seattle Seahawks, 24-22, in the wild-card round of the playoffs behind a gutty performance from Dak Prescott. A week later, their season ended on the road against the Los Angeles Rams. As 2019 begins, Jones will look for the Cowboys to make their first appearance in a conference title game since 1995.